and it's a grind. But if you know that going into it, if you take on the mentality of a farmer, like my man Kevin Gates said, if you take on the mentality of a farmer, then you know this is all a part of the process, and I'm down for the process. I got a few minutes before my kids get back to the crib, and I wanted to share a few thoughts on the reality of church planting. Church planting is an endeavor that takes a lot out of people, and there's a lot of ideas, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of books, a lot of things out there. But I realized, man, let me just give the reality of what church planting really is like from somebody who's planted multiple churches, been in multiple church plants, work with church planners, and all of that. So here's my top 10 list of the reality of church planting. Number one, and I want to be 100% honest with you. Not everyone gets funded. Listen, there's a lot of comparison that goes on in church planting. A lot of comparison. We're counting people's pockets. We're looking at how they move, and man, what kind of funding did they get? Oh, they're in the SBC, they got this kind of funding. Oh, they're in the Sin City, so they got this. Oh, they're in multiple networks, so they got that, this, that, and the third. I need you to understand, not everybody's going to get the same level of funding. So don't even go into the game thinking that everything is supposed to be fair and right. You will be disappointed if that's your mentality going into this. So, play your game. Write your prospectus. Cast your vision. Plant your church. Go after your city. Do those different things. But do not go around looking at other people's pockets, because not everyone gets the same level of funding. Number two, watch this. Planners only make some of their own rules. A big thing about going into church planting is people like, I didn't like the way that pastor treated me. I think I got better ideas. I think I can do it better than everybody in town. Therefore, you know what I mean? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do my own thing. Well, before you get there, I need you to understand, you have to learn that there are rules to the game. There are rules to the game. And church planners, we have a lot of leeway to create systems and processes and different things, but we don't get to just do whatever we want to do. The church is the church is the church. And so the church has systems, the church has processes, and the Bible kind of prescribes certain elements that have to be involved for this thing to be a church. So church planners only make some of their own rules. That might include style of the music, maybe how your worship plays out, maybe how you'll do discipleship and formation and the sermon series and all that kind of stuff. But you get to make some of the rules, but you don't make all the rules. And what I see is a lot of guys struggle because they think they can do whatever they want, and there's constraints because you didn't learn the rules of the game. Number three, it takes a lot of heart to start a church, but it takes resolve to keep going after you started that church. That's one of the biggest things that I think guys just think, man, this thing is going to take off like a rocket. I've got certain expectations, certain desires that I want to have happen. I need you to understand, it takes a lot of heart to get it started. So I commend you for that. But it takes a lot of resolve to stay in the game once you start it. And it's similar to if you marry a woman or get in this committed relationship. There was all these love and feelings and all of this. Next thing you know, once you take those vows, you in it. So I'm not saying church planting is like till death do us part. That's not the case at all. But you need to know you have to have a certain level of grit, tenacity, and perseverance, endurance to stay in the game when times get really hard, and they will get hard. Number four, you will not be successful overnight, maybe ever, okay? Everybody's looking at Outreach Magazine. Oh, top 10 churches, top 10. Oh man, this dude planted this church. overnight, he just had 30,000 people. Man, he baptized all these people. I need you to understand something. Anytime I've done those, I've looked into those types of stories where it's like, wow, this person just shot up like a rocket. There's usually a lot of experience, a strong team, a lot of staff. There's a lot of things that go into making those stories sound the way they sound, as if, man, these person just jumped off the, you know what I mean? They just jumped out there. It's not always the case. So that's why I want you to know, you may never become, quote unquote, successful, whatever that is for you. Whether it was, man, I want to become a mega church, I want to do this, I want to do that. We don't know. But be faithful to where God has called you. But not only be faithful, be fruitful. So I don't know what fruitfulness is going to look like in your ministry or this or that, but be fruitful, aspire, and have ambition, have desire. Don't just settle and go, man, I'm just faithful and these are my four, no more, bar the door. But golly, I don't know. Hopefully you'll be fruitful and faithful. Number 5, fundraising works. It actually works, but you will have to grind for it. A lot of times I see guys, church planners go around, man, they ain't give me the money. Man, I did my vision, I did this. I'm way better than him, this, that, and the third. Listen, and then it's like, man, it's so hard. Why won't people just give me the money? They got the money. Oh, I need you to understand, fundraising is effective. It's an effective tool that Christians have used for thousands of years to do ministry, but it will come at a cost. You will have to grind for it. One email will not do. One phone call will not do. You're going to have to learn how to follow up. You're going to have to learn how to sell. You're going to learn how to talk that talk. You're going to learn how to cast vision. You're going to have to learn how to use their language that they're looking for, their desired outcomes to get the return that you are wanting. You're going to have to figure out how to give them a return on their investment. All of these things are real. But fundraising is effective. And I see guys, man, well, I ain't fundraising, I ain't doing that, whatever. It works. It's effective. I've raised a lot of money. But you will have to grind for it. For me, it was a full-time job. It was a full-time gig. So don't get it twisted. Number 6, watch this. Where you start your church does matter. I'm going to say that again slow. Where you start your church matters. If you decide to plant your church in the inner city, in the trap, just know that your resources are going to be slim compared to if you go to a developing city or community. I'm just saying. Where there's people going, money kind of flows. Where people are leaving or the culture is not behind it or doesn't understand it, money is slim. And so you have to come up with other strategies. So it's not saying don't go, but where you go does matter. If you want to do trailer park ministry, just understand that you're going to have to work harder to get the dollars to fund that, okay? That's not bad, wrong, or evil. It's just be cognizant and do not develop bitterness because where you desire to go, nobody seems to care about that. That's why God might be calling you, but you got to take what comes with that, and you got to educate people. Be willing to educate people on why this mission is important and why people need to invest. All right. Number 7, you may need to let go of your dream outcome. I don't know what your dream outcome is. 2,000 people, self-sustaining in a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years. Man, this many people, man, this kind of building, man, this kind of staff, these things are going to happen. My salary look like this. You may need to, as a planter, you got to let go of the desired outcome and you got to work with whatever the Lord gives you, provides. You're going to work hard, you're going to grind, you're going to do your thing. But I need you to understand, your dreams might not show up the way that God has a plan for your church to actually unfold over time. And so letting go of those expectations will go a long way for you being free to actually enjoy the process rather than you holding on to your desired outcomes, wondering why things aren't going the way you thought they should. Number 8, check this out. Church planting is not fun. I don't know if you've been watching some documentaries. I don't know if you saw if you heard a message that just really engaged your heart and all that kind of stuff. But I want you to know this. Church planting ain't fun. It's not as crystal staircase. It ain't all it's cracked up to be. Church planting is not doggone fun. It is hard. It is difficult. And it's a grind. But if you know that going into it, if you take on the mentality of a farmer, like my man Kevin Gates said, if you take on the mentality of a farmer, then you know this is all a part of the process, and I'm down for the process because I got a desired outcome that I'm looking forward to, and that is that salvations, that is baptisms, that is disciples being made, that is influence in my city, that is all those things. If you can think about the long game, then you'll be all right in the short term. Number 9, I'm going to say this for all my real pastors out there, all my real pastors that just want to preach the gospel. Number 9, you must do marketing. You got to do marketing, bruh. You got to do some marketing. And it ain't fun. You got to get out there in the street. You got to get out in the world. You got to get on social media. You got to get somewhere. You got to tell, I don't care if it's open air preaching. You got to get out there and you got to tell people about this doggone church that you started, right? Otherwise, ain't nobody coming. They ain't never heard of it. And not only that, you got an enemy that has blinded the minds of the people so that they don't want nothing to do with your church. So you really got to do some marketing. And what I mean by marketing is you got to spread the word. And you got to talk to people. You got to share. And it can't just be a coffee here or there. You got to get that word out there. You got to get good at it. And so do some marketing. Get comfortable with sharing that word, promoting it. I mean, get yourself some merch. Get yourself a hat. Get yourself a mug. Do what you got to do, but spread the word so that people know your church exists. Number 10, you become a planter by planting. Nobody is a planter when they show up to their city, their community, or they make the decision to plant a church. It's not a planter. A planter becomes a planter through the process of planting. And the most important work that's happening in the life of a church plant is what God is doing in the church planter himself. So check this out. God wants to do work in you. If you feel called to plant a church, I want to encourage you. This is the reality of church planting. But if that's you, come on in. The water's fine. You'll make it. And I want to be here to encourage you. Yo, if this was helpful to you, let me know in the comment section below. And reach out. Say something to me so that, man, if you want more information about church planting, what this lifestyle is like, what this life is like, if I can encourage you in any way, I'll do all that I can. Peace.